Austin Omarka joins us. The name of the camp is, and it's an interesting name, it's Camp Troubled Eagle. And the camp is a camp for kids during the summer where they go and learn a variety of things, one of which, though, is that self-defense against possible predators, against possible child molesters. I don't think there's ever been anything like this, Austin, in my memory. Has there?
As far as we know, Phil, there hasn't been. And we felt it was high time.
Tell me, where'd you get the name Troubled Eagle?
Troubled Eagle. The eagle is a symbol of our country, and the eagle is troubled. The eagle is troubled because the children of the American eagle are being set upon by a variety of predators, adult predators, child molesters, a variety of perverts who prey on our children, even to the point of murder. And it's high time that our children learn, when they are not around a responsible adult and individual, that they know how to defend themselves. And understand, please, that we simulate the possible attack. And when you do that, and you do everything you can to create that environment, that includes we deal in our workshop with this kind of thing, then you are able to help protect these children much, much better. And that's why we are so very, very grateful for the help that we get every summer.
All right, now, the kids go to this camp, and they learn these techniques. Is it a regular summer camp?
Yeah, we have at the camp, Phil, anywhere from probably 100 to 200 children over a 2-week period. We have canoeing, we have fishing, we have archery, but at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when everything stops in the camp, and that's where we begin to assemble the kids and start with the basics on how to recognize an individual who may want to do them harm. We're very serious about this. We have a nurse on staff who is with us, can help explain some of the things that the kids are seeing. And it's very controversial. It's something that's groundbreaking.
You gave an interview with one of the media that said that you believe that radical measures are needed to protect children, and I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I went on record as saying that perhaps we ought to make anyone guilty of murdering a child under the age of 10 that they be guilty of a federal offense.
Well, I think that the area of deterrent is good, Phil, but I think it's not enough. I think we've got to start teaching the kids that they've got to recognize what's happening, to do things to avoid it, and that means some radical answers. So we have a very unusual camp, but one that I think is going to save a lot of kids' lives.
All right, now you talking about simulating possible attacks. What does that entail?
Thank you, Phil. What we do is we will try to educate the child as to different things that might happen, different individuals that might want to do them harm. And to do that, we have decided that a radical approach is needed. Sometimes a child can, in theory, grasp what you're saying to them about their self-protection, but in reality they don't know. And so when we do that, we do everything that we can to create the environment. That includes we're dealing in a workshop with an individual who may expose himself to children. We do recreate that event. And
okay, is the counselor? You're the counselor. Are you using mannequins?
No. In fact, what we do out of sensitivity, I primarily will lead this workshop. And we do have 2 or 3 select counselors who partially do disrobe to show, what can happen to these kids. And it's controversial.
Boy, I'll say it is. Yeah, I mean, you must have, that is very controversial. Do you have any pushback?
Well, if a 10-year-old child, a 10-year-old girl is set upon by a pervert who likes to expose himself, if she's inexperienced at this or hasn't seen it before, she may not know what she's being exposed to, or that it's bad. At our workshop, this is a very sensitive time.
Now, when you say there's a select group of counselors who are partially disrobing, are you talking about disrobing to show the genitals?
That is correct, but we do it in a very sensitive way. Now, that kid understands that this is a demonstration of what they should not be exposed to, or from an older adult. If they try to make them put their hands someplace and they wonder what that is, then they'll know from this workshop. So what we're doing, a lot of people will criticize, but we're out here to try and protect kids from being abducted or otherwise exposed to these perverts.
Austin DeMarca joins us. Our number is 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. The camp is called Camp Troubled Eagle. I like the name of the camp because you're saying that the eagle, the symbol of America, is troubled by by what's happening to children. Now, this is a method that you're using when you're saying that the kids possibly are being, someone's flashing them. You do that.
In the camp, we do it. Now,
how do the parents react? Let me ask you this.
Just understand, Phil, we're not doing this, just so people understand, we're not doing this because we get some sort of a perverse thrill out of it. We're doing it because we need to. If you say to a little girl, a man may expose himself to you, and if she says, what do you mean by that? How are you possibly going to make her understand it? How are you possibly going to make her understand it unless you actually do it and show her, okay, this is what we mean. Now, we do have a nurse there and a variety of adults who will help the child understand what she's looking at, because she may not even know. And if you have a predatory adult who is trying to take advantage of a child, and that adult may say, put your hand here, and the kid doesn't know what it is that he's being asked to hold on to, you can say, this is it. And so what we're doing, and understand...
Let me ask you, how do parents react to this? I mean, this is extremely radical. I understand that it's groundbreaking. What do you say to the parents?
Well, this was not... this aspect...
What do you say to the parents who may object or otherwise question this? You're exposing yourself to the kids to show them what a pervert might do.
Well, that was not in our brochure. When we signed up the first group, the parents, when the kids came home, they told their parents about it, and the parents did initially have questions.
So the parents found out about it after the fact?
Well, the kids came home and told their parents what they did at the camp, and the parents did initially have questions, and they had some concerns. But once I explained to them what the purpose of the camp was, and I explained to them that it's something that I probably have more information about than they do. And you tell them, because they'll get nervous, you ask them to please just shut their mouth and listen to what I've got to say. I take the lead. And
so they understand that there is a need for you to disrobe in front of their kid in order to teach the child how to avoid being molested or physically assaulted. Because that's my question.
Yeah, no. After I explain it to them, you would be surprised. They thank me. You get the initial call from some hysterical mother. I had a lady call threatening me. But once I told her to just shut her mouth and listen to what I was saying, she calms down, and I found out, Phil, that they wind up thanking me for what we're doing. It's radical, it's groundbreaking, but I challenge anybody out there who is concerned with the well-being of children. When you say to a kid, a man may expose himself to you, and they say, what do you mean? Good luck explaining that.
Well, I mean, you could say to the child, can't you, they're going to, open up their coat.
No, you can't really say it unless you show him. But you do it with sensitivity, and you do it with a great deal of love, and they will understand.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Austin DeMarca has joined us. Camp Troubled Eagle, a camp that enables children, teaches children ways of avoiding being set upon by predators and perverts. Here is Anna on the Phil Hendry Show. Anna?
To have such a thing, I want a license by the state and by the law.
Anna, were you listening to us?
Yes.
Okay, what is your comment?
I want that camp licensed by the state for said actions.
Ma'am, this is Austin DeMarca. What do you mean licensed by the state, ma'am?
With partial exposure to the sexual organs, it better be licensed by the state, and you'll never get it, you pervert.
Oh, I'm teaching people. You know, the lady. This is exactly what I was telling you about, Phil. They don't understand because we care about children, and if
I
this
understand more than you think.
If this woman
I'm 75 years
actually
old and
cared
I've
about
two children, and you wouldn't dare touch my child in a camp.
Once I explain it to you,
ma'am,
let me just tell you what I say to the parents. First of all, you need to shut up and listen to what I'm saying.
I don't need to shut up.
Well,
I called you. You didn't call me.
But you don't understand what you're hearing. If a kid says to you, Grandma or great-grandma or whatever you are, what do you mean a man may expose himself to me? What are you going to say?
They're not.
What are you going to say? I challenge you to tell me what you say to that child. I challenge you.
In camp or otherwise, I would say never, anywhere on this earth. Never.
Never what? He wouldn't do it?
No.
Well, lady, you live in a fairy world because it does happen to children. Children are being victimized every day. See, she hung up. And I'll tell you why she hung up. Because she is one of the last of what I call the gutless generation. Now, a lot of people call them the greatest generation. But I call them...
Well, that lady is not indicative of anything.
Well, she, you know... Boy, she's the kind of person that I just hope I never have to... I hope she's not a parent. If she is a parent, she must have had a kid when she was 100. But all I'm saying is this. If a kid says to you, Daddy, what do you mean the man might show me his thing? What are you going to say to the kid? The only choice you have is, and I don't know how to say this, but the only choice that you've got is to go ahead and start pulling your belt off and unzipping your pants. Because we need to educate these kids as to what it is we're talking about.
All right, Austin, hold the line, okay?
Certainly, Phil.
1-800-449-8686. Austin Amarca joining us. Camp Troubled Eagle, a very radical summer camp that teaches children exactly what are we talking about when we say that you could be hurt by a pervert. What are we talking about when we say that somebody may hurt you? Watch out. They teach them. They show them. And they teach them ways of avoiding and possibly, according to Mr. Amarca anyway, possibly saving their own lives. 1-800, because an adult is not always around. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. This is the world-famous Phil Hendry Show.
From people who are going to expose themselves to you, and we try to explain it to the children. One of our counselors threw a quarter on... And I was very angry at him, threw a quarter on the ground and said, hey, Austin, look, a quarter. And I instinctively turned around and picked it up. I wasn't wearing pants at the time because we were in the middle of this demonstration. So we fired this individual. We don't think it's funny. We don't think it's anything to fool around with. We're concerned with the safety of kids. And I challenge any adult who thinks that our method, as that last, I don't even know what the caller said. She called us perverted. I'd like to know what she's doing to protect children.
Well, the lady didn't perhaps understand, and that's why we're here, to understand why you feel it's necessary in order to teach children how to avoid individuals who are perverted, who are sexual deviant, and who are sexual predators, how to avoid them, why it's necessary to expose yourself. 1-800-449-8686.
Well, I don't think you should put it in that context, Bill.
All right. 1-800, okay, fair enough. 1-800-449-8686. Kathleen, you're on the Phil Hendry Show. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
I just wanted to comment about what this gentleman is saying. I have children ranging in age from youngest is 15, oldest are 32, and both males and a female. And, you know, this is really beyond belief that you would think that this is a way to train children to protect themselves from
Well, I know
somebody.
It's controversial.
How would I do it? How would I do it? Do you want to hear? Or are you going to tell me to shut up?
I'm not going to tell you to shut up, but I would ask you this.
Okay.
Have your children, to your knowledge, ever been victimized by someone like this? And now that's,
Not like that.
You should think before you answer, because you may not know.
Sir?
You may not know.
I'm a parent, okay.
A lot of parents' children.
Question.
Well, ma'am, I'm the expert.
Oh,
A lot of parents' children do not talk to their parents about these things. We find out about this all the time, that they were molested or otherwise hurt, and they didn't tell their parents till many, many years later.
Sir? Okay, would you like to listen
I know
now?
you like to think you've got a good relationship
Would
with your
you
kids.
like
All right,
to
no,
listen?
let's listen to what the lady's saying.
Thank you, Phil. Yes, I have always had a very open relationship with my children. We have talked about things. Have always used correct identification of the genitalia, a penis, vagina, whatever. I don't know if I can say that on the radio, but those are the proper terms. Okay, and there are private parts. Sir, I'm talking.
Do they know what those are?
Sir, I'm talking. Yes,
ma'am,
they
you
certainly
asked me.
do.
Ma'am, please don't make me tell you to shut up.
Well, I'm not going to make you do anything.
I'm hosting the show, and I want the lady to finish what she's saying.
Yeah, but I deal with these children every day.
I know, but this is the woman's talking about her own kids. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Jesus.
If you teach a child what is private, what is personal, that it is not appropriate to touch from a very young age. This is mine. This does not get touched by anybody else. They will learn. They know how to be private, and they will be able to tell somebody.
I've heard about enough
you know
of this,
what,
I hear this all the time,
a child
Mr. Henry.
does not make
it
up
isn't
this
working.
stuff.
It's not working
What
because children are being victimized every day, Mr. Henry. So it's not working. Whatever this lady says, it's not working. We've got millions of American children who are victimized all the time, and it's just not working.
You're saying that a responsible parent, as this lady has indicated, talking...
How many people are like this lady? I asked you. You see the white trash on TV, methamphetamine labs, their own children living in squalor. How many people are actually really treating their children as well as this lady might treat her? We don't know. We have to protect these kids. And I'll tell you right now, if I got to drop my pants in front of every kindergarten, boy, I'll tell you,
you wouldn't be in my kids' kindergarten, that's for darn sure, because that is not appropriate. Teaching children how to protect themselves.
Oh, okay.
You are exposing yourself to them.
Okay, doctor.
That is a form of molestation.
Okay.
For a child that age, they don't know this stuff.
Listening to Dr. Laura doesn't give you a degree in psychology.
I'm sorry, I don't listen to Dr. Laura.
Yeah, sure.
Because she's kind of off the deep end. I happen to be a responsible, intelligent, well-educated parent who takes my responsibility as a parent very seriously.
Well, you think
and I know there are
highly.
many others who also.
Think very highly
You're
of
making
yourself.
it sound like there is nothing but irresponsible, totally abandoning parents throughout this country.
All right, we
there
gotta move
are
on.
those.
Yeah, we
there
have to move on.
Those.
We have to move on.
I just want to ask this lady one question. What are you going to do the day you're standing in front of a judge telling the judge you don't understand why your son has severed heads in his icebox because he was always such a good boy? What are you going to say then?
Well, that's a little extreme.
Really
no, that happens all the time in this country.
Guess what,
I don't know what country you live in, ma'am.
My sons are United States Marines. They are very upstanding young
United States
men.
Marines,
all
the more likely.
Wait a minute, what did that mean?
You are.
All the more likely.
What does that mean?
Oh.
I think you know what it means.
Because of them, you're able to say what you're saying on the radio today. That is the truth.
Ma'am, are you telling me there's no connection between USMC and a head with a bayonet through it in an icebox? Jesus.
Boy, this man
Kathleen,
is way out in left field somewhere.
Well, that's right. I believe in radicalism when it comes to protecting kids.
You're not protecting anybody.
Well, neither are you, ma'am.
All right, fine.
I'm
Kathleen,
sorry, Phil.
thank you very much for your call.
Sorry for
Phil,
this
I'm so sorry that you have listeners like this.
Good luck with the rest of the evening.
Why don't you go back to Dr. Laura, and that way you don't bother Phil.
All right, thank you very much. Good God. You know, Mr. Omarka.
I'm sorry, Phil. I believe that when it comes to protecting kids, I will short you-know-what every cannibal in the Congo if I have to.
Along with archery and canoeing and all the other things the kids do at camp, learn how to recognize a predator, how to protect themselves from a sexual predator. You said that lady that we talked to just before the break was what?
Phil, she's an example of an individual who is. This is why when I talk to a lot of parents and they start going off the way that lady did, is I will say to them as gently as I can, but I will say to them very firmly, shut your mouth and listen to me. And I purposefully didn't tell her to shut her mouth to show you and your callers what can happen, how this know-it-all attitude takes over. Now, someday, and I hope it never happens, but someday she may be standing in a courtroom next to one of her sons trying to explain to a judge how he was a nice little boy and how he never, ever exhibited any interest in setting fire. I get very emotional. I'm sorry.
I can tell.
Because I saw that happen once.
What?
I saw an individual cement shut the doors of a senior citizen center and set fire to it.
Jesus.
I testified against him in court, and I knew this man as a young man, and he was a very dear friend of mine. So if that lady someday is standing in a courtroom with that Marine Corps son of hers, where she's got to explain to a judge how he was a nice little boy, and she never in her wildest dreams ever imagined that someday he would go and get quick, dry cement shut all the emergency exits to a downtown theater, and then throw a lit cigarette butt in on highly flammable, tattered, pre-war carpeting. I'm only hoping that doesn't happen.
Austin and Mark, I know that children traumatized are potential crime problems themselves.
This is the number one concern, Phil. A child can grow up to become a problem for society.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Rhonda, hi, you're on the Phil Hendry Show.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I'd like to read the research that supports his methods. Could he point me into some articles or some dates or some research that points me to the efficacy of these methods?
I'd be very happy to. But you asking that question is almost like you say you don't believe me.
Well, of course I don't. Unless it's research-based, I'm not going to believe you.
Well, but, ma'am, all the things that we've got so far don't work either.
Pardon?
I said everything that we know so far that we try to apply, it doesn't work. We still have children that are being molested. We still have children that are being murdered. We still have children that are being abducted and sexually molested. So can you point to something that does work?
Well,
there, I got you.
Well,
so I can point you to all kinds of research. I got you pretty good with that.
Hey, can you tell me what state do you operate out of? What state actually allows you to operate?
Well, you got a lot of questions.
I think it's a fair question.
I operate out of the state of Delaware.
Okay, so
what
you're
state?
In Delaware.
Are you in Delaware?
So can I Google you and find you on the web? Are you on the web?
Can you do what? Can you do what?
Can I type you into a search engine and find you on the web?
I guess.
Okay, and so I could contact the authorities in Delaware and let them know that you're doing something that probably is more detrimental to children.
No, you shouldn't say that. Well, you're going to tell the cops their business? Hello, police officer. This man's doing something that's more detrimental. I mean, what are you, a psychologist, ma'am? Is that what you're going to tell the police their business?
Actually, I have a PhD in special education, and I've worked with kids with emotional disturbance who have been victimized and abused for years.
Okay.
And it really upsets me that someone like you, who gets a little bit of publicity because of your outrageous methods.
I happen to be very groundbreaking.
People believe that instead of going and looking at, okay, if we don't know what works, let's sit down and systematically find a way.
Well, Rhonda, we've been doing it your way for a lot of years, and you haven't kept
What is my way? You don't even know my way.
We've got children being victimized over and over again by people because your way and society's way hasn't worked. We got children being murdered, molested, and you come on and you start jaw-jacking at me about my method? Please. I can tell you that children...
dropping your drawers in front of a bunch of children is not going to protect them from molesting.
Well, ma'am, that's like me calling you some kind of a witch doctor because I don't understand what you do for a living. I'm saying that kids...
Look, you even said you had a counselor that threw a quarter on the ground as a big laugh.
Okay, does that make the whole thing wrong because some guy pulled a gag like that?
I mean, he throws a quarter and you bend over to pick the quarter up in front of all the kids?
I fired the guy.
Well, hey, how do you go through the process of selecting your counselors in the first place? I mean, how do you make sure they're not sex offenders?
And how do you make sure that what you're doing isn't making the kids worse? Well, now, looks like we got ourselves a dilemma. You can't answer my question any better than I can answer yours. What you do, ma'am, and what I do, hopefully can help you.
I have absolutely no idea what I do.
Yes, I do. I absolutely know what you do. You use all kind of method that doesn't work. It hasn't worked for the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and it ain't going to work in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So I drop my pants in front of a kid. Big wow. I'm not doing it to get my kicks. I'm doing it to show the kid this is what it looks like. Don't touch it.
Oh, come on.
Well, let me just give you a suggestion. If you're serious about this and you're certainly passionate about it and you truly believe it, what you ought to do is when the kids leave, you need to track and see, have they been approached by someone? Did they know what to do?
I got it covered.
And collect those data so that you can actually be legitimate.
Gee, Rhonda, I never even thought about that. Thank you so much for telling me all about that. I never thought about that. Good
Have you done it?
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this.
Well, where's your data?
Where's your data? Where's your data? I want to see what you've done. How do I know what you've done is working? Yeah. Ooh, gotcha. I know that stings.
I haven't done that.
Oh, come on.
It's not my interest.
Not your interest. So you sit down with a bunch of kids, show them some doll that's got pubic hair on it, and go, "Did he touch you there?" Then the kid goes out all flipped out.
I have not dealt with. I don't even do that.
You make your husband linguine pasta. You teach kids to read.
Yeah, I mean, I do something totally different than what you do. I mean,
well, my question is, do you track whether they're actually able to read 2 weeks after you've taught them?
All right, that's a pretty insulting question.
Well, I mean, she's insulting me all over the place.
I couldn't hear what he said.
He said, how do you know they can still read after they leave your classroom?
Well, because they go
much.
on and they read in the next grade, and they read in the next grade. Because I use scientifically based practices to teach them to read things that have been put up against evidence and research, something that he has not done.
Well, ma'am, then the kids, as soon as they get old enough, know how to read an arrest warrant as the cops come through their back door. Good going.
All right.
You're such a weirdo.
You know what? You ought to just shut up and listen to a man who knows what he's talking about.
Oh, shut up! Wow.
You know, I'll tell you something. I don't hit women anymore. I don't hit them
women anymore.
Not anymore. No.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to entrust my kid to you.
Ma'am, I am a gentle person when it comes to children. Women with big mouths, you know what I do? I just turn my back and walk away. I didn't used to do it. I used to leave them on the ground where I found them. But now...
Okay. You know...
Boy, you've really outed yourself, Bud. You're not going to have one more camper after this call-in show.
Yeah, and we're going to all go to Rhonda, and we're going to have our kids learn how to read C-Spot Run. Just because the kid can say C-Spot Run as a senior...
All right.
Hey, are you drunk? I mean,
am I drunk?
Why?
Well, I'm out of these, she tightened my jaws. What? Oh, God. It makes me regret the day that I ever did stop giving a woman a 5-finger freaking knuckle.
All right. Oh, God. 1-800-449-8686. It's a camp that teaches children methods, recognizing first molesters and perverts. And I got to tell you, my hat is off to anybody that cares about children and recognizes this for what it is, something that has to end. I'm not one of these people that believes that child molestation is all of a sudden a new phenomenon, that all of a sudden it's like worse in the 20th century. It's been with us for a long time.
Well, Phil, that's true. The crimes against children have been with us since there have been children. There seem to be more of them now, and in fact there are more of them now just because the population is greater, and there's a higher percentage or higher incidence of this. But we've had this for centuries, and it's time to do something about it. And I'll tell you, like I said, if I got to short every cannibal in the Congo, I'll do it.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. And let's go over to Mitzi. Mitzi, you're on the Phil Hendry Show. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Go ahead.
Hi, I just want to make a point to that gentleman who runs the camp.
Yes, ma'am.
I think he is a child molester himself. I think he definitely has some tendencies.
Now I got to tell you to shut your mouth.
No, let me tell you something, Susan. You shut the hell up. How's that?
You shut your mouth.
I think you've got some child molestation issues.
I care about
and
children.
Your camp doesn't work anymore than some guy telling a woman that the way she can prevent rape is by being raped. I think you're a sick puppy, and I think
what you know
should go
about
along with the rest of the child molesters and just get fried. But you're sick, and your approach is messed up.
Mitzi,
I think I'd rather go with Rhonda's approach there.
Mitzi, hold on for a minute. What?
But the microwave bell went off. I got to get my dinner.
Well, go ahead. Let me just tell Mitzi that we need to have a dialogue, Mitzi. I understand you're upset. We need to have a dialogue and not...
Okay, I got it. Let me just address what this lady said. And I will address it, Mitzi, in the level of discourse that you've addressed me in. You're an idiot.
Right. Oh, I'm so
There you go.
afraid of you. Promise you won't knock me down because I know how brutal you can be, even though you gave that up. And be sure to teach the kiddies that now, won't you?
You don't care about kids. What do you teach them?
Honey, you're a pervert, sweetie.
Ma'am, all the boyfriends that you have over at your house, all of your boyfriends, how many of your boyfriends have molested your kids?
No, but he molests me all the time, and it feels mighty good. But I think
I'll bet it does. Ever since you were a little kid, it probably felt mighty good. Just because you were molested as a kid doesn't mean other kids got to go through it. And because you let kids go through it doesn't mean,
serious problem.
you know,
you need to deal with your child molestation.
You know what?
Really
I'll come to your house and kick your ass.
Oh, I am so afraid, honey. I am so afraid.
The microwave.
I think you've got
Will you
some
get your
problems, and any
microwave down?
parent who trusts their child to you is an idiot, just like you. Is an idiot.
Mitzi,
you're not teaching kids anything.
Hey,
You're exposing yourself.
Mitzi, you're not making a point just by talking.
You're exposing yourself, honey. You are exposing yourself to children.
Mitzi,
That's
this
what you're doing.
Mitzi, this is Phil Hendry, the host of the show.
Yourself,
all right, I got it.
See what I'm talking about? That's the kind of woman that has done children more harm, and there are millions of mothers like that all over America. The boyfriend comes in, mommy's asleep, he wants a little action, he crawls in bed with one of the kids. What does she care? As long as he's taking her out for a lousy drink and a dance so she can wear her tight dresses and she can shake her ass. Oh, God. My mother was like that. Hold on for a minute. It's not ready.
Will you get that microwave fixed?
There it is, Swanson's. How do you handle a hungry man? The manhandler. Go ahead, Phil.
Look, all I'm saying to you is...
Ooh, God, that's hot. Damn it.
What?
I didn't take the cover off of the dessert. You're supposed to crisp it up. It's apple crisp. Shoot. I got to put it back in.
Will you listen to what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Mac and cheese. Yes, sir, I'm listening.
Would you knock it off with your frozen freaking dinner and listen to me?
Yeah.
Whether or not that lady's a motor mouth is one thing. What I'm saying to you is that you have... Is it ready?
Yeah, it's ready. Go ahead, Phil.
I'm saying to you that you have to understand that there's going to be an awful lot of emotionalism around this.
Hold on, Phil. There's someone at the door.
Go ahead, get it.
Yes, may I help you? Are you the guy that runs the camp? Holy Jesus. You're the father of that girl. Are you dirty...
What happened?
Yeah. Go ahead. Try and expose yourself with it jammed right up your rear end. Who is this?
This is Phil Hendry.
I like your show. Wait till my dinner's ready. I gotta
Get him all out of here, will you? 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show. Phil, I'm emailing you to let you know that our local affiliate here in, and then he mentions the town. I don't want to mention the town because I don't want people going on their website and jamming it up. He said they tried to get you off their programming because of a new format that they're installing. Last Friday was supposed to have been your last day on the air, but it seems that people called in left and right on your behalf. Can you believe that they were going to take you off at 4, you are a rerun here, and put that loudmouth windbag Michael Savage on instead? I'm also sending you a link with the poll that the radio station is running so you can see that we love your show here in blankety blank, 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 blank. Thank you for all of the laughter you've brought me in doing one hell of a show. And then he has the website. Now, I went there, and even the way they word it, it says, do you think we should move Phil Hendry, or something like, do you think we should keep Phil Hendry even though you're getting his show 24 hours old? Yes or no? Do you think we should put Michael Savage on? Yes or no? I'm kicking Michael Savage's ass 65% to like 35%, and we even voted just one vote to see what how many numbers of votes had been cast, and there are quite a few. Now, voting polls are not all that big of a thing.